Thanks for staying with us this morning. Let's now take you through the front pages of Nigerian newspapers this Tuesday morning to see what the headlines will be, and we'll return quickly for analysis of some of the major issues we will be seeing. The Nation newspaper is taking us right this morning on economy, and we see right here, quoting the Minister of Finance, Edu, soaring revenue, cut in debt rise, economy's profile. What does this always mean for everyday Nigerians? We'll talk about that a little bit. And we move to the Nigerian Tribune this morning, which is also talking another matter, this time around on labor. And we're seeing right here, TUC threatens strike, describes policy as economic wickedness. Now, that's a very strong language to use. However, that's what TUC is saying. But let's quickly make our way this morning to the Leadership newspaper, which is highlighting this matter. We just rested now, the Dangote and NUPENG's, squabble, if I would say. Oil Workers Union, Dangote Group's Abuja meeting ends in a deadlock. We just said it's just day one. Let's allow other days show what it has. The News Direct, also on the same matter, federal government sues for peace in Dangote NUPENG dispute. Of course, if peace is allowed, then we can all hear ourselves to see what we're saying. Let's move to a little bit something else. Election matters now ahead of 2027 election. North rallies voters as South tops pre-registration list. I'll let you know what the rider is when we come back for the analysis. And the Platform Times is spotlighting this matter on the creation of state police. And we see right here, policemen can break doors, scale fences to arrest suspects. This is quoting the force. There's a reason why that is that case. We'll let you know exactly. But let's go to the Guardian newspaper this morning as they are talking telecoms sector. We see right here on the Guardian, if you could give me a few seconds to bring that up. Okay, moving quickly to the Daily Trust newspaper, which is bringing another matter. This is on examination malpractice. Jamb now. Jamb panel examination malpractice becoming normal. That's a little bit of a sad matter, right? If Jamb can say that that is becoming normal, no, I don't think we can allow that to, exist. And quickly we go to the Hope newspaper this morning, which is showing something on the same matter as well. Jamb panel uncovers 190 AI cheats in 2025 UTME. Really sad right there. And this Nigeria is also talking the same thing as well. Jamb unmask tech-driven exam syndicate. That is really, really sad. And as we make our way to the end of the road, which is a sport in life, where I always like to go sometimes. However, today I don't think my guy is right there. No, he isn't. But we have come for 3 points, says Ekong. This is for against the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. But Etoma, let's begin the conversation on economy this morning. The minister is being quoted right here as saying that there's a soar in our revenue and a cut in debt for the nation's profile. And the rider here says 38.8% debt to GDP ratio below global benchmark. Borrowing is tied to project. He's trying to answer, well, the opposition, remember what the opposition has been saying? You're not saying, you're not borrowing any longer revenue, but you're still borrowing. The minister is saying it's only for project. Really?
Yeah, it might only be for project, but the Nigerian debt profile is over 140 trillion naira. All right, over 140 trillion naira. That is a huge sum by any means. It is. And He says the GDP ratio to debt profile is still low, so we can borrow some more. Where? I mean, what are you saying? We are not generating, let's go down to brass tacks. Nigeria is not a production country. We are consuming. Once we start manufacturing, we start export, we start things like that, we start real trade, you know, most of these things we're discussing today will not be necessary. So what I am advocating for is that the Honorable Minister for Finance should steer Nigeria towards production. You know, that way he will be spared the need to explain a lot of economic terms that sounds as if somebody is talking over our heads.
Well, let me say something. What Thomas said, like I just had to burst into laughter. The fact that, you know, because we can borrow more. At the end of the day, I've said it countless times, I don't have problem with borrowing as long as you can pay back. When you're borrowing, you know that, okay, in this amount of years, I'll be able to sort it out. And you sort it out, you can always borrow again. So borrowing is not the problem. But what we're speaking about here is that we should not keep borrowing if we are owing so much at the end of the day. And then all these terms they bring out, all this, when does it come to the layman? When do people now have money in their pocket? Because we see GDP is the GDP is that, but people still don't have money in their pocket. So people will now be asking, what is going on? They are no economists. How do you explain to them?
Let me drag Ibrahim into this just for 5 seconds before I get back to Ria. Do we actually pay back? She said, borrowing is not the issue, but pay back. Do we pay back, you know, if we borrow 1 billion, for instance, do we pay back 1 billion or we do other things?
No, when you borrow, you have to pay with interest. Because the Bretton Woods of this world, talk about the IMF, talk about the all of this paying, World Bank, WTO, they'll borrow your money and they'll make it difficult for you to pay back. And I'll end this.
Which is what the wahala is.
Yes. I'll end it with Ria's country's proverb. That's the Akan people who are the largest group in Ghana. They say that when you sleep on a borrowed mat, you cannot stretch your leg easily. They also say another thing because they have so many. They have so many proverbs on loans. If you milk a borrowed cow, you'll be looking towards the gate whether the owner will not spend anytime.
No, but see, I get what you're saying. That's good proverb there, Ibrahim. But what I'm saying
that's not good for us.
No, you don't understand. I'm saying that I don't have problem with borrowing as long as you can pay back. But I think in one way or the other, Nigeria has been paying. Let's give them the accolades. They have been paying in one way or the other. We are not debtors. We've been paying in one way or the other.
That paying back is wahala. We need to move on. But Ria, TUC is threatening strike, you know, and they've described this policy as being wicked. But the federal government, you know, is also meeting with NUPENG and NLC to find a way of resolving this. Why did they have to call this wickedness?
It's wickedness because if you look at what TUC said, they said that if they go ahead with the strike, it will bring the country to standstill. And these are the things that we always kick against. We talk about schools, banks, transportations, markets. You can go on and on. So I always say it, not just TUC, anybody that goes on strike, it affects the country in one way or the other.
Now this is on the proposed 5% tax on petroleum product.
It will affect, see, any organization that goes on strike in one way or the other, it will affect Nigerians. And I can agree why they said wickedness, because at the end of the day, it's Nigerians that suffer the actions.
Ibrahim is talking about Nigerians suffering the action. You know, the leadership newspaper, which of course is talking this Dangote matter, you know, we just discussed a few seconds ago. According to the writer here, we were unable to reach an agreement, says the Labour Minister, and the NLC has also talked on why the talks collapsed. We need peace to exist in this sector so that we all Nigerians don't get to suffer.
So the thing is, we just want them to agree on something that will work. We cannot stop Dangote from buying trucks, from bringing in trucks, employing people, creating more jobs, you know, due to one of the biggest refineries we have in West Africa, and then now exporting to other countries, even countries that also refine oil, like, you know, so a state in the US where it's currently shipping to. So, but the thing is, you cannot employ people and say, you do not want union to exist in your own company. TVC is a private-owned organization. We have our own union. So there are some private organizations that have unions. So we should ensure, because it's the right of freedom of association. And then even the what's it called? The labor law allows for union. So it's according to the labor convention. So you have to do things internally, because you are not going to operate in silos.
Cannot just change
You're operating in the Nigerian environment that has its own governance rules and all.
And we can't just bend rules like that at the end of
So
the
you
day.
have to do things in line with the established authority.
I couldn't agree more with you, Ibrahim. Maybe Dangote does not want them to carry placards one day.
Yeah.
I think we know.
No, but it is normal.
See, one of the things I think he's trying to avoid is when his staff are unionized, that there are a lot of things he cannot do as a company, because somebody will
say no.
Then when you are doing that, it means that you have a sinister or diabolic approach to that. Because
that's why NUPENG is saying the man wants to monopolize the oil
and that's what we're talking
industry.
about yesterday as well. Because
if you mean well, you won't be bothered about.
No, but we can't categorically say he doesn't mean well. But
no one says he doesn't mean well.
That's why I put it
you mean well.
You understand? But if there is a union, when people come together, it's easy for them to fight one person than just one person fighting.
We need to ask, there's a lot to discuss this morning. But Toma, let me take you to the News Direct, which is also talking the same thing. But let's go to politics. A Labour Party spokesperson, or the Labour Party, is saying that we will vie for 2027 election without Peter Obi.
So
remember, Peter Obi is either here or there. ADC is, and then PDP is trying, and the Labour Party is saying, well, with or without your guy, we're going ahead.
Who is
well, we are at the stage where
I haven't said yet.
We're at the stage where people can come out and say a whole lot of things. Whether you are a stalwart, whether you are a chieftain or whatever in any party, you can say anything you want to say right now. This is where we muddy the water and see how it settles. So Peter Obi has not responded to it.
Yeah.
His people that support him have not responded to it. So let's just wait and see. Maybe tomorrow we're going to have a response to that. But these are the interesting times when it comes to politics, when we are building up to the campaign season.
And Ria, on the Punch newspaper here, this the South is stopping pre-registration as the North Australian voters. We see here Oshun, Lagos, Ogun lead as online pre-registration hits 3.5 million and much more. We're talking about registration for voters. This is some good news.
It's good news. And at the end of the day, I always told them, please do not just register. Make sure that on that day you come out and vote. Because when I hear registration numbers, I'm not so excited, because people can register for different reasons, and at the end of the day, they do not come out to vote. So if you've registered, it's your right to come out to vote for who you want. Don't at the end of the day say that, what do you say?
It's your duty.
It's your duty. It's your duty and your right. So don't come at the end of the day and say, oh, this person, did you vote? So don't just register. Make sure that you are voting.
Indeed. Ibrahim, let's turn to police matters now on the platform Times. Policemen can break doors, scale fences, and so on and so forth. This is the PRO warning the public against obstructing operations. He says hindrance during arrest is also a crime. Why would a policeman break my door if I don't want to give up?
If there is a suspect, I think he's actually, he's saying the right thing. But
you think so?
But to whom are you saying this? The category of people, I'm not saying all of them. Where we have, an institution that harbors bad eggs among them. People who are we're still struggling with people on the road, collecting bribes, taking tips and all of that. But we need to put this into context, because if you're doing this, Section 12 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 said that a police officer or other law enforcement officer can break open any outer or inner door or window of a house or place if access is denied while executing a lawful arrest warrant. But then the conditions and limitations is that there has to be lawful warrant, there has to be first demand entry, the officer must first demand entry, and then if you are not allowed entry, you're giving, there has to be reasonable and proportionate.
Can I say something quickly?
Proportionate.
Can I say something quickly?
Sorry. But these people, we have the law, we have the rights. They will, in fact,
let me say something. And you see, I think that what we should be saying is that if, police is coming, do not resist arrest. Because you cannot tell me that, see, when you give people power in their hands, there's so many things they can do.
You have to show me the
Wait now, before.
That's right.
See, Nelson, you just be there and you say,
Ria, that statement is not inflammatory if you look at it in the right context. Yes, policemen have a right to do that. But first of all, they have to have a warrant.
That's
exactly
right.
And we've seen situations where policemen go to, so why didn't they go to the other house? Why go to this one? Because they have information, all right? And then the owner of the house, you are denying them access, and they have a warrant. They'll break the door.
So please don't deny anybody access, so your door doesn't get.
It can also clash with my own fundamental rights.
All right.
Dignity, liberty, privacy.
Remember, there's a warrant.
We have to iron it out.
Go ahead, sir.
Etuma, let me take you to the Guardian newspaper. How Japa vandals, investor fatigue keep telecom services below par. And there is a breakdown here of telecom's, biggest pain points in 2025. Oh boy, this is a lot. Shortage in depth of skilled professionals. Look at that. Vandalism and theft of telecom infrastructure. Drop in FDIs. Multiple taxation. Persistent drop in telecom or telephone service quality. A whole lot of this, they are saying, is reducing the strength of telecoms in the country.
Yes, it would reduce the strength of telecoms in the country, especially the Jackpot syndrome, because very qualified technicians and engineers they are moving out. They are going to other countries where they are doing the same thing, and they are being paid like 25 times what they are being paid here.
Exactly.
That's number one. The second one that is really damaging their work, so to say, is vandalism and theft of their infrastructure. It is so common. And now telecoms organizations now have to have some kind of security formation that's almost akin to the police. They have to do that. They have to buy them a whole lot of things. These guys go on patrol over and over again. I know a little bit about this because a friend of mine works in the telecom sector, and he happens to be one of those that whose responsibility has to do with the sites. So this young man hardly sleeps.
Oh boy.
Phone calls here and there. There's theft here. This guy has resigned there, and so on and so forth. So it's a real problem for them. I'm even surprised that it is now that they are speaking out, because it has been on for a while.
But sad one. But we hope, we'll find a way. Maybe we should sometimes learn technical things as well. But Ria, let's go to examination malpractice. Things like this is what is also leading to this one now. On the Hope newspaper, Jamb panel uncovers 190 AI cheats in 2025 UTME.
And that is very scary. I remember the training that TVC had sent us for, we were speaking about the fact that you cannot just use ChatGPT now for everything. I'm talking about artificial intelligence. You have to mix your brain with it. But right now, we see that the students, it's just copy and paste. They just go type the thing, copy and paste. But I also love now there's something that can detect, if you used, ChatGPT to bring it out. But now we're looking at Jamb. We're seeing most of our students not even want to read. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram. I think there's a lot we need to do in terms of education. This is very disgraceful to see that a place like Jamb, an institution like Jamb, is having a lot of fake. That means, are they reading? That means they're not writing from their brains anymore.
So, for me, it's a failure of parenting.
Yes, failure of parenting.
Not just parenting. We always blame it on
parents. Accused of perpetrating these, with 80%, margin. Right. And the problem there is that we're all here at the time, blaming the Jamb registrar, Isaac Oloyede, that he didn't do well and all of that, even though he had sanitized the Jamb, examination practice. So now people who are found wanting, whatever region they are from, whether from the north, from the southeast, from the southwest, anywhere, they should be brought to justice. And centers that also allowed this thing to happen should be closed, and people should be put behind bars. That's right. Because this is where it starts from. By the time they become president, they become...
corruption has really started from a young age.
And parents are
it's deep into them, so how do you now take it out? And I don't always just want to say only parents. Even some of these invigilators that are there, some of them are also, do things that are not supposed to be done.
Invigilators are also parents too.
Choma, quickly on this Nigeria, talking about parents now, school is resuming, and the rider says parents are expressing concern over rising fees.
And I'm wondering why you ask.
Yes, no, it's close to you. How are you coping?
Man, it is not happy times for parents, especially those of us that still have kids in school. I said it, was it yesterday or so?
It was yesterday.
If you have children in primary and secondary school, you're not really feeling the bite. Have them in private universities and you'll understand.
But let's quickly end up with the sporting life this morning. 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying. We have come for 3 points, says Echo. Ibrahim, this is for you now. Eagles will approach Bafana match with confidence.
Yes.
A lot of
so we'll see what happens. Yes, we'll see what happens, because they are facing Bafana of South Africa that defeated Lesotho 3-0, and you know how strong they must have played. We struggled to defeat Rwanda. Yes, Rwanda. 1-0. So we'll see what happens, because what we need is 3 points really. But how do we get this 3 points? Otherwise,
and Nelson, I already predicted the match, so it's going to be 2-0. I predicted it right here on TV. 2-0. Nigeria 2, South Africa 0.
I heard Osimhen picked up an injury during the Rwanda match, and he may not
Be on the
play
field.
They say it's a minor
today.
injury.
Yeah, no, I
minor
think he would be on the
That is-
field.
is
Yeah,
bad.
he should be on the field.
But they are not
look,
playing with the strength, with the force that we need, that they use when they play for us.
well, they are playing South Africa.
We need to go. We need to go, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you very much. That's how far we can go on the newspaper review segment. There's been a lot always on the table to talk about. But coming up on TVC Breakfast, as Nigeria struggles with growing security challenges, the spotlight is back on state police. We will discuss this